We are now in the second week of hearings related to the experimental submersible that imploded last year. That hearing is being held in Charleston to see what exactly led to the Titan sub disaster. 5 people died while hoping to view the Titanic wreckage. Today, the co-founder of that company that owned the submersible testified, saying he hopes the tragedy yields a renewed interest in exploration. This after earlier testimony raised questions about whether warning signs were ignored. Queen City News Chief Legal Analyst Khalif Rhodes has been listening into the hearing. So based off of the testimony that you've heard so far, does it seem like those warning signs were ignored?
Clearly, if you have someone that is hands-on with this submersible, someone that was responsible for ensuring that it did what it was supposed to do and was decided to opt out of wanting to be an operator. That was the testimony that we heard the other day. He said there was no capacity that I would operate that ship. Asked multiple times by Stockton Rush, who also passed on the submersible. He said, what if I changed, operation and I did it myself? And he said, well, even if you got on there, the processes that we have in place are not there to protect me or anyone else on this submersible. And so I would not put myself in that submersible at all. I mean, that was hard to hear as a person that was offered multiple times. And he said, look, this is a part of your employment. This is why we hired you. He said, well, it isn't for me to go on there and basically know that it's not going to operate in the capacity it's supposed to operate.
So if I looked into my crystal ball, I feel like I know what your answer is going to be on this one, but do you think that there are lawsuits coming from this?
Oh, multiple lawsuits. I mean, there's already lawsuits. There was $50 million lawsuit filed maybe the first couple months after this happened. I see more lawsuits coming down the road. I mean, that is, if you're talking about what is the standard for a lawsuit to be successful, first of all, you have to prove that there was a duty. There was a breach of duty and it caused you some damage when you're talking about wrongful death. But also you want to point to knowing and when you knew and if it was something that was avoidable. And in this situation, it sounds like prior to them going down there that the issues that were on the submersible were already known, that this wasn't something that happened on accident. It wasn't something that was by mistake. There were known issues that weren't remedied, that weren't fixed, that profits were put over people's lives. And so, yes, there will be multiple additional lawsuits after this one.
What about, people who signed this release? I mean, they knew that they were going on a dangerous exploration and that they could possibly perish going down there. So I'm assuming that they signed a release that they knew that this
that
was
you waive all
risk.
kind of liability, right?
Right.
And those things, I remember in law school, my professor talked about that all the time. They say you sign these forms, but you're not waiving away your potential rights to death. You may be waiving away your rights to a lawsuit and go to arbitration. You may be waiving a number of things. But in a sense where there is a death, I think there won't be a court in the country that would say any type of waiver that I sign would stop me from being able, or my family or my estate, from being able to have an ability to bring a claim going forward, especially when you have all the things that are coming out in this Coast Guard hearing. In this hearing, they're bringing out more information that we would have not known if this hearing didn't occur. And so I think that even if they signed potential waivers that waive liability towards the company, those would be passed and thrown out because this was something that was avoidable.
Yeah, and I think that it's interesting, the co-founder saying that he hopes that this tragedy yields a renewed interest in exploration. That's an interesting take at this time when they're dealing with such a serious
poor choice of words.
Yeah.
But what I can tell you is for sure that they tried to be innovative. They tried to, cut costs and cut corners, and their approach to this entire submersible industry already had red flags. Even before it went down, they went against industry standards. And because they went against industry standards, there was already a heightened risk walking into this situation. His statement, I agree that you want to continue to have folks to want to go into that, but you got to make sure that you're doing it by the book.
100%.
Not trying to reinvent the book.
Khalif, thank you very much.